কখন?
7টার সময়। ফিউচার এখানেও মেনটেন্যান্সের জন্য অনেক দিন ধরে
এই তো তোমার ছবি উঠছে।
এই হ্যান্ডেলিংটা খুব সুন্দর। তুই লাইভে আছো?
হ্যাঁ, বলো বলো বলো, কিছু বলো।
আমি এরকম ভাবে স্টার্ট
একটু
করে
বলতে হবে, আমি তো কাজ করবো, বলো। Good afternoon. So we are here to start the maintenance schedule for our gallery tanks, and today our special guest is Sanjay Dev. He is present here. Sanjay, হাত নিয়ে খুলে দাও, বলো কেমন খুললে।
Yeah, I have missed that workshop last Saturday. Actually, it's about like I was really eager to attend, but somehow it's not happened. And you can see it front. Today we are going to start with this tank. As you can see, this is properly overdense and overgrown, so it needs to be trimmed as soon as possible so that
কানেক্টেড আছে নাকি দেখি, আমি তো শুনতে পাবো না। এবার শুনতে এবার পাবে।
okay. So as you can see, this tank is purely overgrown, and so it need to be trimmed and need to be maintained in proper shape actually. So we will start with this tank, and also will like start it over and it will later. Voice record এটা ভালো বেশ না, ক্যাচ করে বেশ ক্লিয়ার ভয়েস।
মোটামুটি ঠিকই।
আমি ধরছি, তুমি করো না, তুমি সেট করো।
আরও আসুন, জয়েন করুন সব। এই নাড়ুদা, এইগুলোকে খুলে নাও, আমাদের সুইচগুলো অফ করে দাও, ফিল্টারে সারফেস স্টিমারগুলো আর অফ করে দিলে সারফেস স্টিমারটা বাইরে রাখো, খুলে বার করে নাও, দেখতে সুবিধা হবে। So firstly we are switching off all the filters, surface skimmer, everything, so that there is no flow coming from the filter. So whatever will be the trimmed part of the plants will stay there and we will net them out. Okay. কাঁচিটা নিয়ে আসো, বাঁকা কাঁচিটা আছে, একটু জলও কমাতে হবে। হুম
তোমার বড়
আমার ওই অ্যাক্রিলিকের আছে,
বড়
এমনি পরিষ্কার আছে, স্ক্র্যাপার লাগবে না। হ্যাঁ
চলছে।
লাইভ চলছে, চালু করবো। সেটাকে এখানে সেট করে দিবি। খোলো তো, তোলা যাবে এখান থেকে, খুললেই উঠে। এই ট্যাঙ্কটাকেও করতে হবে।
আউটের পাইপ
নাহলে পাইপ নিয়ে আসো, জল ফেলতে। ইনপুটেরটা ভালো হবে।
এমনি উপর দিয়ে ফেলে দিচ্ছে ঠিক
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
এমনি উপর দিয়ে ফেলে দেবো ভালো
হ্যাঁ, আমি জলটা খালি কমিয়ে দেবো। আসলে হরিজন্টাল করা যায় না, ভার্টিক্যালি হবে।
খালি বলবে না
আর তুইকে কাজ করা যাবে, বাস ছেড়ে দাও। হুম, বেশি ডিস্টেন্স করলে না লাইটটা ধরে নিচ্ছে, ফেটে যাচ্ছে ছবিটা, একটু অ্যাঙ্গেল করে। So we start the trimming procedure. Okay. First we remove all the filter, other materials, other equipments, also the CO2 diffuser. So the main thing I want to remove here and trim is the HM. We'll do it in the first place. This scissor is from B2N. Rajanda, Viruddha, probably they will be watching it. ये इनवाइट করে দিলাম থেকে ভালো একদম তো লেখো তো, এই তো এসে গেছে, ও পড়েই গেছে। ওই হ্যাঁ ওটা করে দেবো, ওই দাসগুপ্ত। দেখা দেবো পরে একটু ঘুরিয়ে। আচ্ছা, এটার সময় কথাবার্তা বলো, এটাও ধরে তুলে নিতে পারো, গুটিয়ে দিলেও হয়ে যাবে, ইজিলি ওটাকে ধরে করতে পারো। জাস্ট একটু হাত রেখে তুলে না। ফিল্টারটা অফ করো, ফিল্টারটা চলছে, অফ করো। এখনো চলছে। হুম।
So as you can see, it's important to terminate all the flow while maintaining or any trimming. This way you can prevent any debris and those leaves stucking behind the plants and trees, which may increase the phosphate level when those are rotten or over time. And we should have a basic idea about how we want to see the aquascape after trimming. So it's important to know, like
So it's very important to separate all those leaves which you have already trimmed, especially for HM, Hemianthus macranthomatis, because even if a small part of that retains in the water, then it will start growing from that part. So anyhow, if it goes into the carpet or maybe in the other segment where there are other stem plants, they will immediately start growing, and after a few days it will form a bush there. So your scape will be damaged. That is why it is very important when you are trimming the HM, say after trimming a part of it, you start removing it also. Okay. So partially we have trimmed it, then we are removing it now, and then we will go for another part of the HM.
not available. Network not available. হচ্ছে তো কোনো প্রবলেম আছে জিজ্ঞেস করছি উত্তর দিও So as you can see, it's very satisfying actually to see the trimming part of any dense forest aquascape. And one more thing, plants like HM and many other rotala varieties are formed in a dense, thick, actually in bushy shape. So you can just chop off them according to your shape, not an issue, they will regrow from where you left off. But many other species have a distinctive stem structure we shouldn't chop them like here and there and randomly, like Rotala macrandra, aromatica, and many other like big leaves and like thick stems. Thank you, Anupam. Village. Chop clean. So as we are saying, Amartya just maintaining the layer of HM. Actually, he could have just like cut it off in a very lower portion, but side by side we need to maintain the shape and
It almost done trimming the HM. So after proper cleaning, so I have maintained like a oval shape here, so that when it starts growing, the middle portion gets a little bit better height than the side portion, because we will be planting some red plants here also. Also some rotala, macranda, mini butterfly is growing there. So for them to get proper lighting, we are making it oval shape. ভালো করে ছেঁকে বার করে দিচ্ছি।
Hi Orgo. Orgo had asked a question that is there anything called over trimming? Yes. Over trimming, it means like we have to maintain the minimum height of a particular stem plant. Like what kind of stems and what kind of plant or what kind of bush we are trimming depend on the circumstantial. Like as I have told earlier, when we trim HM or rotala, most of the varieties of the rotalas, we just like it's important to maintain the shape, and we just chop it off here and there. We can do that, but mostly the thick stems like Proserpinaca palustris or aromatica or rotala macrandra, if we chop them here and there only like we can see black spots in the edges of those cut spotted. And over trim, like like we have a 10-inch stem plant, so by is there no thumb rule, but we should have left at least 3 to 4 inches after a heavy trimming. Because if we like cut them thoroughly with a less than 3 or 4 inches, the plant nutrition or the transportation system will be terminated, and we may see the stunt growth or rotten edges, disease like that. Or go, thanks. Any day, buddy. Anupam Mukherjee, thanks for asking questions. And whenever there is overgrown bushes, what I generally say is yellowing the bottom part of the leaf. Anyway, and Amartya will answer this actually.
No, Anupam, there is no way you can avoid whitening of the bottom, because where the plant will get more light, they will synthesis or store more chlorophyll there only. If they are not getting proper lighting in the bottom, then they will not accumulate chlorophyll for photosynthesis there, because anyway they are not getting any light there. So that part becomes little bit yellowish. So when you trim, it will be visible. Like here, you can see the HM previously was very bright green. Now it is looking little bit yellowish. But maybe in 3-4 days they will start producing new buds from those nodes. So that will be green because they will start doing photosynthesis. Now it will look little bit yellowish. I hope I have answered you properly. So now the second part is, the second invasive one is the moss. So I will remove the moss here. I will not trim them, because when I start trimming them, the small part will be retaining inside the water. So I just will do some separation with my hand only. Just pick them up little bit where I don't want them to grow. I will just pick them up.
And trimming those such dense moss will be tricky sometimes, because they can spread here and there and attach with a surface or any other woods or plants or carpet, and they will grow generally from there. And when we notice that, we cannot just pick it up from there only, because it will uproot the carpet system or damage any other plants. Yeah, but sometimes it required to trim mosses, so we have to trim it periodically. And whenever we trim moss, we need to maintain the siphon system simultaneously, so that no other debris or part of the mosses can left behind in the tank. Ritam, Dada mosse hair algae ki kore prevent korbo? We will do that algae in other videos, Ritam.
Generally, if you have moss, you will definitely get some hair algae. The point number one is, if already the moss is infested with hair algae, you will get it in your tank. The second part is, if you don't have proper filtration system, proper flow and proper carbon dioxide, then also you will get some hair algae. So it is always better to add some algae reducing element or chemical there. in regular basis, very less amount, but in regular basis, so that the other fish and plants are not getting damaged, but the algae is not coming. So you can prevent it like that only. That is the proper way of preventing it. And also during maintenance, now I have removed the maximum number of the moss. But what you can do, you can just pat it like this. So you can see the
lots of debris coming out
debris are
from the
coming
bush.
out. Those are the main reason why the moss attract most of the algae here. If you remove the debris like this, then there is less chance of having algae issues.
And Ritam, as we know that the moss structure is really complicated actually, so it's easy to attach with the algae and grow unknowingly. So it's better to go with a regular maintenance actually. Regular means actually.
See, I have not removed moss in last time properly, so that is why it has already gone into the carpet. So
See, the moss is attaching with the
now
carpet.
now it will grow inside the HCcuba carpet, and you cannot prevent it. You just have to remove the excess part, but it will still grow inside the carpet.
Argo. Another question from Argodeep. What is the debris released by the moss? From where does it come? And those dead parts of the moss itself, can we call the debris as a plant poop? No, it's not a poop actually. It's a wastage form of moss. Like whenever the moss grows thick, the lower part tend to brownish itself, so that they can make a base in the surface or any plants or any rock or any wood, so that they can attach their body for the long term. So we can see most of them in emerge form whenever we grow back here. Yeah, what I'm saying is, when moss grows emerge, we can say that there is a thick brownish layer at the bottom of every kind of moss. So it's a like their own formula to attach, to create a base and attach on its surface for a long term. And it's a moss itself only.
And the second thing is the moss itself is very they have intricate structure like mesh only, like filter media. So they can easily catch any debris from circulating in the water that you cannot easily see, but over time they will get accumulated below the moss. Also it gets accumulated below any stem plant and carpet plants also. In carpet plants also you will see these debris are coming off. But in moss it is very easy for them to catch the debris. So that is why it is very important to clean the moss and clean those debris properly and in regular basis.
And he asked another question, that also how harmful it is if we don't remove these debris around and underneath the moss.
Actually, the main thing is this all of these debris are organic in nature. So somehow they will get degraded. They will release ammonia, phosphate, and eventually nitrate also get increased. So that will help the algae to grow actually. So that is the main problem. If you don't remove the organic matter, the algae will grow from that.
And it will increase the organic wastage in our tank. So when organic wastage left behind, there will be an excess nutrition value in our tank. So when excess nutrition value will be present in tank, what will come to balance it naturally? It's the algae.
So this one is Rotala Nanjan. We are removing it. This is the green version. There is another Nanjan that we get commercially. Is bit of pinky stage with gas.
This one.
इधर से कालू का शीट है
So রিতম যাই করি algae এসে যায় মস এটা প্রিভেন্ট করতেই পারি না রিতম we cannot prevent algae after it infested in our tank actually in moss particularly. So some basics rules are maintain the proper flow where the moss is thick and dense, do weekly twice or thrice or single depends on our work schedule to maintain the moss, and just swipe the mosses to which will release actually the debris underneath them. So when you siphon them, it's a critically maintenance, and critically maintenance is a basic key of preventing algae. Jivin Josh has asked a very beautiful question. It is, after trimming of plants, will we reduce the CO2 dosing or laser the bubble count as the plant are less in quantity? Actually, we don't do that, Zabin.
Actually, we don't do that because when you cut the plant, they are doing less photosynthesis, but they are eager to do more photosynthesis because they want to compensate. Because they already have lost most of their tissue, most of their photosynthetically active tissue, where the photosynthesis were occurring. So it is very important to give them proper amount of CO2, proper fertilizer, because they are now will start, not maybe in next couple of days, but after that they will start synthesizing more nutrient and accumulating more nutrient, making some new tissue for photosynthesis, so that will occur. So you don't reduce the CO2 dosing and fertilizer dosing and everything. So also in this time you may need some more nitrogen for their new tissue buildup.
Okay, so
And actually, after trimming, it's not quite scientifically well to reduce CO2, because it may happen CO2 in fluctuation or CO2 level fluctuation in our tank, which may lead to the pH also. So it's better to maintain a simple level of CO2. Depends on your tank and your bioload and what kind of plants you have.
now we are trimming the Rotala Wallichi. This is the Mexicana variant.
So it's a beautiful reddish single stem based plants. So I can see so many questions on algae actually.
Do a separate.
We'll do a separate video on how to prevent what kind of algae and how to maintain them. And see, it's a natural aquascape, so we should maintain the visibility of the algae, not the algae terminate itself, because it's a parts of our bios nature, and it's actually balance our system. So Just do the maintenance so that the visibility of the algae will be reduced, but the algae will be there when a system is natural. Zibin has asked another question. For all plants, trimming style same like anubias, carpet plants, or other plants? Definitely not, Zibin. Trimming method depends on the plant structure, plant growth, how we want to see it in our aquascape, in which positions, in which position in the aquascape the plants are there. Like for carpeting, we need to random chop and maintaining the shape, and for HM bush, like I have said earlier, you can chop up really to maintain the shape easily, but it's quite challenging for any thick stem plant, so we need to maintain the height as well as the root system shouldn't be damaged.
Look at the color it has produced. Burst of anthocyanin.
See, the color is in white light actually, and you can see it's quite bloodish red type. So these plants have a strong defense mechanism actually, right, Amrutha? When plants have strong defense mechanism,
Not defense,
it will turn
protection mechanism.
Yeah, protection.
So this part is almost done. The red part has not grown that much after the previous trimming. So now after separating those red plants, we will start doing the HC cuba trimming, which is the most important plant. And I think most of you want to see that. How do we trim the carpet plant?
Sorry if I am definitely missing more questions actually. There are lots of questions are coming here. Argudi, please make a live video for epiphyte trimming since we are venturing it's a bush keeping. We need to some educations there. Definitely we'll do some epiphyte trimming today.
Today we will do the trimming of Pinnatifida. So that is mostly kind of epiphyte only. So we will get an idea how do we trim the epiphytes.
We'll do that trimming session today. See, when you grow carpet, we are happy, but when we trimming it off, we are actually very happy. It's too satisfying to see some HC cuba chopping off in front of you. See, the debris are coming out. And when the carpet grows very dense and thick, we must siphoning the substrate or like the carpet once in a while, at least 2 weeks, once in a 2 weeks. What the tips to grow HC cuba?
There is nothing special. You need proper water parameter for this. It is same for growing Glossostigma, Monte Carlo and everything like other stem carpeting plants. Only I have faced some issues with Utricularia before, but now in the other tank they are growing fine. Having some algae issue in the tank, but still they are growing well. As for HC cuba, I have done it many times, so there is not such a problem. Cool water promotes the growth definitely, but it is not like that you will not be able to grow it below 30 degrees. Below 28, 27 degrees centigrade, it is very easy to grow HC cuba because their growth is slow, so you need some patience on growing HC cuba. But trimming is most important because if you don't trim, they will grow in layers and sometimes they come up. That is the main problem. If they come up, then you have to replant it again, and that will take some more time to form a carpet.
And also it doesn't matter actually which kind of light you are using, like RGB or normal WRGB or normal white light or any other T5 or LED lights, but we need to we need to reach the power value so that the carpet spread thick and dense. Devojyoti asks this question: if a professional service is introduced to the maintenance, let's keep in this actual fun part aside, how you guys think that the service will do in market, and what should be the cost of the service in Indian market? I didn't get you actually, Devojyoti. Service means maintenance. Just reply. If it's a maintenance, then it depends on the situation, or depends on the tank, depends on the location, depends on the person, depends on the equipments we have, depends on how we want to replace it. Yeah, I got you now. It's for the maintenance. Right? So as I told you earlier, maintenance cost depends on two major things, like how we are doing it and what accessories or what tools we are using. Because see, tools is a very important to do with a perfection. Any work, it's a very practical thing. We need proper tools, like as you can see,
This is reverse sweep.
this is reverse sweeping. So we can do with a straight scissor or any other blade type sharp thing, anything we can do, but the proper tools makes it easier and makes it proper. So it's important to use proper tools. And professional service, when we mention professionalism or professional, we cannot decide the price tags or the time we are investing in such works. It's like when a painter draw a painting. So you cannot just price tag with their raw material cost, their framing, their tube, their colors and all. Because the time he or she invested to achieve that painting, it's priceless. Shamrat has asked, Palustri streaming style is the same as Rotala. Amartya, what do you say?
Palustris mean which palustris?
Proserpinaka palustris.
See, in Proserpinaka, you can properly see the stem, the node of the plant. So, in Rotala, if you have a bush like that, so I'll show you to that. So, if you see this Rotala, it is very it's kind of impossible to cut each and every part. You can do it if you have lot of time, but generally we don't do that. We just make a proper shape of the plant. So definitely don't do that.
Yeah,
But
just maintain the shape and chop it off. It will grow easily.
I'll show those different trimming styles in this aquarium. We'll start trimming this aquarium shortly after we finish that. So you'll be able to see the different trimming techniques here. So we have Alternanthera, Storoja in Rotala and all. So all those trimming techniques will be little bit different.
মোটামুটি এই সেটা কাটা হয়ে গেছে।
আচ্ছা তুলতে পারবো?
তুমি এদিক থেকে করো।
ভালো
চা না করি আজকে তো এদিকে আবার লকডাউন ওপার থেকে আনতে হবে পূর্বে এত যাবে
হ্যাঁ
তুমি পাইপটা একটু আমাকে দিয়ে দাও
Devajyoti Mandula asked a question. Any tip for nano tank owner? Cause in my 5 gallon I have to trim almost every 5-6 days my stem plants. How stressful are those for the plants? See, whenever we are setting up a tank with the plants or with a very variety of plants, we need to keep in mind that which plants we are using actually. It depends on the scape, depends on the tank size, depends on the overall water volume. So in nano tanks it's advisable to use small leaf structures plants, and if possible go for slow to mid range plants, which plants grow medium to slow to medium actually, because if you are using too much fast growing plants, so it will be hectic to maintain the shape with such a 5 gallon tank.
I'll show you how to after trimming how to clean the carpet area. Okay, so you just siphon it out and do some
Say
tapping
this
on
this will help to release the debris furthermore, and it will sucked by the outplane pipe, and it's very healthy for the tank actually. To minimize the wastage value of our ecosystem. The more we maintain the wastage value, the more the tank will appear lush and healthy.
This is the main thing to create a proper planted aquarium. The siphoning is the main ingredient.
So we don't need to attach the pipeline with the plants directly, because it may can damage the carpet and the plant as well. So do it with patience. So you don't need to do this kind of excessive maintenance in every week or so, but it is advisable to do it at least 2 in a month.
This is how we are removing the maybe some part of part of some moss and some HC cuba. HC cuba don't
See, the moss
create a
are
problem.
flowing around, the HC cubas, plants, leaves and flowing around, the wastage is flowing around. And one more important thing, when we do this kind of excessive streaming or siphoning, we need to surely make sure that there is no debris left behind when we fill the field with the fresh water actually. And if the debris will be there, they will stick on the plants, and eventually you will see staghorn algae within 8 to 10 days. So it's quite important to suck out all the new debris or all the plant leaves we are seeing actually, and do a proper filtration system. And as we can see, these tanks have lots of variety of plants over there. So this will be the classic example of how to trim all kind of or all varieties, or mostly we are saying in India. So these are carpets, these are epiphytes over there. This one, these are small leaf structure plants, they have aromaticas and all.
So we'll just fill up the water in the 3 feeder now. This is now partially empty. We'll start doing the trimming of this tank, this dark tank. So I will start from this side only. So this one is
Filter.
So this one is the polygonum species. This is a pink variety. So I'll just do a minimal trimming. We'll remove the excess part and make a good shape of this plant. We can put those plant cutting back in the soil, so they will start growing from there. Now you can see this big tank, even with 2 canister filters, there are some debris getting accumulated on the leaves. So maybe in 4 or 5 days we do water change here and we remove the excess debris from the leaves. So looks good, and also that is healthy for the tank. You can see the debris coming off from the narrow leaf tones. So this one is Pogostemon dacen. Pogostemon stellata dacen. This is a very narrow leaf. This plant is very similar to Limnophila aromatica, but it has some dense and narrow leaves. Okay, so in the front I will cut it from here.
And when we trim this kind of single thick stem plants, we need to keep in mind about the growth rate of which plant we are trimming actually.
Yes.
Because in Dutch or any plants like this will grow eventually in a slower compared to Rotala and other varieties. So you need to keep in mind that these this plant will take time to regrow.
So even
So-
myriophyllum has started growing here. After I trimmed it, already has started growing. Remove them. See the root coming up. Just a fragment of the plant was there. You can see the cut side. It was just got stuck inside within other plant, and the root has come out, and it has gone all the way through towards the soil. So we will just remove them because they are very fast growing, and they will form a thick bush there very soon. See the root system. This root was thoroughly outside the soil substrate system. It was not inside. Now you can see some oxygen bubble already coming from the stem cut side. It is coming here. This was getting transported from the bottom of the leaf to the top. Now that cycle has been broken, so it is coming out from the stem. Now see, after removing the myriophyllum, we have got a blank space here. So what we do, we'll put the bigger stems of the Stellata Dasen here. Just place them in that position. They will automatically start producing roots there. And the roots will go to the substrate very quickly. I mean, in almost 1 to 2 weeks, they will grow in full length and go towards the soil. So whenever I feel there is a blank space, we can put some plant there and make it more bushy. We can do that. And this one is Rotala macranda narrowleaf. This one is Rotala macranda. I already have trimmed it few days back. So I'll just make a proper shape of this. We'll remove the excessively growing stems, and now this looks better. We are just putting them in the place because anyhow they will produce root there. So it is not a problem. If you are not having a proper bush or already established plant, then you have to put it in the soil. Otherwise they will float away. Here we have already established a plant bush, so we just are placing inside. So other plant will entangle them and get them in their place. That will be beneficial. So in this case you don't have to really put them back in the soil. You just can place them in any blank space.
See, Samrat, it's not always necessary to put plants in a soil to grow them. Plants will eventually grow. Soil just help them to keep them in shape and give proper nutrition supply whenever they need. This is the basic requirement of soil using in a naturescape. So any plants can grow in rock and wood if we tie them up. They will eventually grow roots and they will shoot their root through the substrate to hold them properly, and they will take nutrition and other values from their root and their leaf structures.
In this case, we are trimming the Bacopa caroliniana. It is a very easy plant, but I love this plant structure and color. So I have removed not only the long stems, also I am cutting the tip of the smaller ones, because if we don't cut them, they will start growing rapidly and they will be longer than the other stem. So if we cut the top of the stem, they will start getting some other shoots from the lower nodes. So that will make the plant more bushy.
Means when we restrict the upward growth, they are tend to shoot side shoots to grow the sideways, right?
Yes, yes. This one is the myriophyllum. We have to remove them because they attract a lot of debris like moss only because of their leaf structure. So it is always better to cut them properly.
শুভজিৎ অধিকারী ক্যামেরাম্যান কি সঞ্জয়? হ্যাঁ আমি। অ্যাকচুয়ালি ক্যামেরাম্যান না, ক্যামেরার জায়গায় আছে, আমি শুধু দেখছি দর্শক।
রিপ্লাই করছে সবাই।
And Amrita, a question from my side actually. Is there any specific condition to keep leaf structure smaller?
Highlight will
Highlight.
highlight will make the leaf structure small because in small area with highlight they will do photosynthesis at the same rate with the bigger leaf area and low light. So ultimately, if we like, you can see the glosso leaf is little bit smaller here, and we have another tank where the leaf structure is little bit bigger because in that they are facing some shady areas because of the wood and rock. So that is why in that place the glosso leaves are little bit smaller.
So when plant need to keep more sunlight, eventually their leaf structure will be bigger according to requirement.
Yes, yes. Like same in Monstera delicosa. The top leaves are little bit, I mean, they are parted. They have holes on the leaves because they want to give sunlight to their lower leaves. The lower leaves are not that much, I mean, ventriculated or holes. They don't have holes there. They are like normal. Naruda? চাটা খেতে খেতে এটাকে একটু ছেঁকে দাও পাতাগুলো।
Devajyoti asked a question. We saw in Green Aqua channel there are some dedicated maintenance guys there to do the tank maintenance in other people's tanks. I am asking if the service is introduced in India, but you think the market of that facility is already floating in Indian market. Actually, there are lots of professional guys who are doing maintenance in other tanks as well as their own tanks, friends and families, relatives tanks, and definitely in a professional way. So these are already in our Indian market, and this is a necessity actually because we all like to keep this kind of large green and nature aquarium in our place, but not everyone has the time or the circumstances to maintain it properly. So sometimes they seek for other person's hands to maintain that. And Amrita already do that in professionally.
Now one more important thing that I want to share with you, that whenever you are trimming a দেখি সব চা পড়ে গেল তোমার মজায়। আচ্ছা, so whenever we start trimming the heavily growing plants in Dutch aquarium, what we do, we just remove some part like 1 inch or 1.5 inch in between two bush of other plants. We just remove them because if you do that, we are doing it from the bottom only. So whenever we do that, we restrict the plant from growing rapidly inside others. So we are removing some part of the myriophyllum here in the boundaries of their growth, like from this aromatica mini, in between aromatica mini and myriophyllum, we are removing the myriophyllum because they are the fast growing one. So it will give them a proper oval look, oval shape, and also that will help them to stay in their own place. They will not grow inside other. This one is the main key of trimming in a Dutch aquarium. You have to remove the fast growing plant to get integrated with other plants.
Because in Dutch aquarium, we are maintaining the shape and the hardscape throughout the plants only. So the separation of those varieties are very important to keep. See,
this is Rotala blood red from Mr. Alfred Joss. Alfred probably will be watching, or I don't know if he's watching. Now we will start trimming the Rotala green. So in this tank, Rotala green is.
হ্যাঁ আমি ওদিকে ঠেলে দিচ্ছি ওদিক থেকে নেট করে নিই জলটা ভর্তি দিই আমাদের এটাকে নেট করে নাও তো আগে হ্যাঁ নেট করে তুলে নাও আচ্ছা Now, this Rotala green has grown in a beautiful way. So I just will put it in a round structure. Okay, now firstly I am cutting the frond. Because Rotala green already growing inside other stem plants. So we have to cut it from the bottom also. ছোট কাঁচিটা আছে দাও তো।
কি গাছগুলো রেখে দেবো?
তুলে না বালতিতে রাখ।
Orghodeep, what is the basic funda to grow red plants more red?
There is no basic funda, always advanced funda. For red plants you need advanced funda. For green plants you need basic funda. This rotala green already has started growing inside other plants. So I have to remove it manually because you cannot do it with a scissor. See what Sanjay was talking about. See the leaf size of the glosso growing underneath the green rotala. It was not getting proper light. Only it was probably getting some greener part of the light. So the leaves are bigger. If you compare this with the, you can possibly see that more green, bigger leaves, as they need more area for photosynthesis.
More surface area to capture
Yeah.
sunlight, right? Actually.
In this area, as the light is very high, the glosso already is doing proper photosynthesis. So they are reducing some of their photosynthetic activity by reducing the greenness. It is little bit whitish in nature. You have to remove all this green rotala like this, otherwise sometime you will see this is growing in a distance of 2-3 feet.
And always be careful what you are picking off, because sometimes when we pick stem plants like this, we eventually damage the plants and other. So don't pick it too hard, just softly.
Because these are all new protrusion.
Because see, these rotalas have very thin root systems, so it shouldn't very hard to pick it from soil. Just do it with patience and
Some part of myriophyllum is also growing here because that part was there.
see, leftover myriophyllum has started grown here.
Cryptogorine parva still growing there, but they had been shadowed by the rotala. We'll do the trimming of the blood red because it is a rare one still in my collection, so we'll do it in the last. I don't want it to get mixed with the normal rotala and HR. হয়ে গেছে ওই দিকটা, তো ওইদিকে সেই বাতিটা সরিয়ে ওইগুলোকে সব তলায় রাখো একসাথে। হ্যাঁ
চাটা তো ফেলে না
কোথায় যায়
ওই তো বললাম চা আছে
একটু দাও। Now we'll start trimming the rotala, rotandifolia pink. This is the normal variety that we get here only.
ও ভালো
This is also very easy to trim. You just have to give it a proper shape. As flow is there from my right side to left side, so keep it little bit aligned towards the left side. আমরা শব্দ করে চা খাচ্ছে
And it's very quite natural for any soft stem plants like rotala. They have a tendency to flow towards opposite the flow actually. They will tilt down, and when we ignore this, they will tilt down to the extreme to the next plant or any soil other, and they will start developing roots and anchor them with them. So always maintain the shape and the size and the surface we have given to them to grow.
ইয়েগুলো ফলো করা খুব টাফ। কোনগুলো কমেন্টগুলো? হ্যাঁ, ফটাফট নিচে চলে যাচ্ছে, নিচে চলে যেতে হবে।
আমার অন্য সেটিংস থাকে নিউজ ফার্স্ট।
হ্যাঁ ওইটা বোধ হয় জিনিসটা করবে। So I am just removing the tip of the plants, otherwise they will get very long very soon.
Just chop and
Break needed.
এগুলোকে সব একসাথে দেখে সরাতে পারবে এদিকে? দেখা যাবে? নাহলে এদিক থেকে ইয়ে করে নেবো।
ঠিক আছে।
This one is Rotala Ceylon, so kind of similar to Rotala Green. They grow very long and they start getting included in other plants. So you have to remove it properly.
এদিকটা সাইডে এই করো, এদিক দিয়ে তুলে নাও। বাবা, যতবার এই সাইড করবো নিচে নেমে যাচ্ছে। সেটিংস খুলে কিছু নিয়ে যাবে। Now the important part is here. So we'll start doing trimming of the Pinnatifida. So I will show you how I have planted it. So probably the roots are deep inside the soil, but probably I can see this one is the newest one. I've just put it in a stone. They are coming up and they are growing. So not directly on soil, but they are still growing inside. The roots are going inside the soil. So you can see them all are bound to a rock.
So the main technique to trim a pinnatifida bush is that you remove the bigger and older leaves. So once you do that, new leaves will be coming and it will look more bushy. So removing all the bigger leaves. Sometimes see, this pinnatifida is also started creeping inside other plants. You can see it from. They have started growing from that rock. They got some space and got into the storage enripping. So I'll just put them back in the bush. So that will they will catch root from there.
And it's always hard to chop off the nice red leaves from the top, but it's quite alright. They will.
But it is
Start
very
eventually.
important, otherwise the beauty of the pinnatifida will not be there, because if they grow tall, then the compact bushy structure will not be there. Now I start removing the extra part of the air mini. See the color in the bottom part of the leaves. Here you have to be very careful. Just if you do the trimming properly, then it will look bad. It is not like that the plant will die, but it will look really bad. See, the Rotala Ceylon is still growing inside other plants, so you have to check it and trim them out.
And what I've seen the most in comments or messages that see, airmine is a very picky plant actually. It need to settle down quite for a long, and when they started growing they will do these bushy things. And it's always better to keep this kind of plant in front of any flow system and all that.
Yes,
So that's why
otherwise
the
this-
flow system is strong. The algae or the debris will not formulated in leaves, because air mini have big structural leaves, and most of the algae will pick it from will like this kind of leaves. And if you place them in a where flow is very less or very mild, the algae will stick probably very soon. Just keep it in a good flow and give it time. Even if after planting they have tend to release their rotten leaves, they will fall back, break down. Just keep it in that place only.
I'm also removing bigger and older leaves because it had some algae, green dot algae, so I'm just removing them.
can see the root is itself overlap the plant itself to hold it better in a place. So when we restrict the upper growth of any plants, they have tend to shoot their side shooters and grow horizontally, and it will make eventually a bushy plant.
Now, how to remove glosso and other plants growing inside other carpet. So if you have multiple plant carpet, if you have multiple species to make a carpet, then you have to maintain it. If you want a heterogeneous carpet, that's okay. But if you want a proper carpet with a proper boundary, then you have to remove this glosso. If you have Marcellia hirsuta, then you have to do this kind of maintenance. Otherwise, they will start growing inside the other plant. And this one is Lismachia lumularia. I will just remove the algae infested parts, otherwise I will keep them as it is. Just putting them back so that they can start making their roots and hold on to it. So almost the stem plants are done. So the
We need to maintain, not maintain actually, we need to just touch up this tank also.
Now, what you asked, how to trim this tank. Many of you requested me to do a trimming video of this. So now we will start trimming that. So I will make it little bit fast because already I have shown you the proper procedure of maintaining a tank with stem plants. So I will make it a little bit faster.
such a dense that
I cannot even see where I am trimming it. I have to remove the first layer, then I have to trim it properly. Otherwise, I cannot see where I am trimming. নাহলে এগুলো তুলে নাও চলে আসো এই ট্যাঙ্কটার জলটা ফেলে দাও না ওদিকে পরিষ্কার করে দেবো
করে দিচ্ছি।
ওই ইভেন্টের ইয়ে হয়েছিল
কিছু করেছিলাম লাইব্রেরিগুলো ডাউনলোড করতে ওটা কাট Now I will start removing the excess of the Ladwigi arcota. This has been growing here since last couple of months, but it's purely a beautiful plant. হাতে করেই তুলে না
শাক আছে বিক্রি করে দিলে লকডাউনের মাঠে কিনে নেবে সকাল সকাল।
এই মশগুলো শুধু ব্লেড দিয়ে করে গুজে দিয়েছি না
টাচ করা না। ও আচ্ছা, আর এগুলো দিয়ে এমনি টাচ করা না, ভিজে আছে তো ধরে নিয়ে যাবে না খুলবে। এখানে নাম ওগুলো পেলিং।
এইটা আমি নিয়েছিলাম এই
ছোট ছোট
ভার্সন
পিনটিকে এটা কাটবো, এইদিকে আরো কাটতে হবে, দেখা যাচ্ছে দেখতে এত সুন্দর হয়েছে গাছটা।
এইখানকার সবকটা গাছই দেখায়, এইখানকার সবকটা গাছই দেখায়, কালারটা সুন্দর।
ওই ট্যাঙ্কটা ফিল্টারটা চালিয়ে দাও, 3 ফুটের ট্যাঙ্ক।
তোরা একটু নেট করতে হবে নাহলে
সার্ফেস স্টিমারটা লাগিয়ে দাও, তাহলে সার্ফেস স্টিমারটা চালিয়ে দাও। টেনে নেবে ওটা। থাকলে পারে, থাকে না তো, আগে কাকা থাকতো তখন
চলে গেছে
নুন খেয়ে আছে।
এই গাছগুলোকে
পরে আলাদা আলাদা প্যাকেটে
শীতকাল থাকতে থাকতে বুঝলে, শীতকাল থাকতে থাকতে এই এন্ট্রান্সের সামনের জায়গাটা একটু ইয়ে হয়, মানে আবার সেই বর্ষা আসে আবার ঠান্ডা বৃষ্টি সব লেগে যায়। কোথায় ফসল করে ইট পিছিয়ে করে মার্বেলিং মার্বেল
মানে আনন্যাচারাল কিছু করতে চাইছে না। পিনাটিভিটা কাটি,
নাহলে ছোট মার্বেল পেবেলস।
হ্যাঁ
পাকা করে চালানো না, বড় ঘর করে আলাদা।
টাকা চালিয়ে না।
So we are removing all the bigger leaves of Pinnatifida. After that we will cut the stem and put it back inside other aquarium, or maybe if there is any place left, so we will put them back there on. এর ভিতর কিছু ভালো গাছও আছে, সংখ্যা আলাদা করবো।
উনিশ
কি
এটা
না, এটা না নয়।
নয় কি বলছি
নয় দেখো, আরেকটা এর উপরের ভাষা নাকি ওটা বোধ হয় 15 না 17। অফলাইনে কিনলে বেশি না।
प्लास्टिक का बड़े बड़े जगह दिखता है जमीन
হ্যাঁ নিচে তেমন কিছু হয়নি।
বের করবো। এগুলোকে রেখে দেবে, পিনাটিভিটাগুলোকে। এগুলো আলাদা করা যাচ্ছে, করে নেবে তো। রেস্ট আগে জিজ্ঞাসা করা ছিল আমি করতে হবে। কি আপনি আগে ছিলেন নাকি মাঝখান থেকে নাকি ওই আগে ঘুরে গিয়েছিল? আগে একজনের কাছে ছিল সম্রাটের সাথে সম্রাটের সাথে কথা আছে। প্রাইভেট ছিল, অনেক প্রাইভেট হয়ে গেছে 5-6 মাস।
বেলিং থেকে আমি একটা ট্রাইপার্টি এনেছিলাম, বুঝলো?
ট্রাইপার্টিটা কি না এ তোমার শিক্ষার পয়সা
মানে আমার এই নখে দুটো কথা বলবো।
শিক্ষার পয়সা 3টে ভাগ না রে, 5খানা থাকে, একটু জল ওঠে
একদম মাইক্রো সাইজ রয়েছে,
ধরি না, একটু জল ছাড়া আলো বেশি আলোতে থাকলে
ওপরে জলের ওপরে।
হ্যাঁ ওই তো জল ছাড়া একটু বেশি আলোতে থাকলে পাতা ছোটো ছোটো হবে।
Nice piece. এটাই বললাম, এটার নাম আরো বড়
আমাদের এই ডাল গাছের যা কালারটা হয়েছিল,
ও এখানে তো ধুলোর প্রবলেম নেই বলে না, আমাদের এখানে আপনার হতে পারে। এটাও এনেছিলাম ওটার আছে একটা এরকম স্টিক টাইপের ভালোই।
So almost this tank trimming is done. So just showing you. This is filled up with water now. Unless you can see it how it is looking right now. Now the 4 feet, the 7 feet are done. So now we will start doing the trimming of this 4-feeter one. This is also a nature style aquarium.
So as we have seen, we have already started with the trimming with the in a style aquarium. Firstly, we are trimming with a background plant, and then we'll come back to epiphytes, ferns, and other species. So here we can just randomly chopping off the head so that we can visualize the plant growth and we can maintain the shape properly according to our need. There are actually many mixed kind of stems. Rutalas are there, Ludwigias are there. It's almost started to overgrown. As you can see, he is just plugging them the cutted piece into the bush, and they will eventually develop their root system and anchor with wood and other plants.
তাদের খাবার জল দাও তো।
শেষ করবে
এটা করে শেষ করে সে তো হয়েই গেল। ঘর কিনারে দিলে হবে আলাদা করে।
So today we are almost done with the 4 major trimming. First one is this. We have trimmed this. you can find the details in this video only. And those who have just joined, just let me tell you, we have done with this tank. And Amoto is now doing with this tank only. This is our last tank for today, but not the least, there are many more. So this is a classic nature style where the epiphytes and the stem plants are surviving together. You can see the debris released. Always clean them. We have also done this tank today. You can see the major trimming. The water changer is still pending, so we need to clean the debris and the water. And as always, I want to have trimmed this 8-foot long aquarium. And these tanks will start to take shapes within next 1 week or so after a major trimming. And one more thing, never loosen up stems in like this. They will start growing from there only and anchor with a carpet plant. So always remove if the iron is left behind after trimming. And always careful with the fish and shrimp. And also the most important part is to siphon all these debris. These are accumulating in bottom. Yeah, we need to siphon them very early. Don't leave them in tank after maintenance.
Okay, thank you for being with us. So mostly we have done 4 tanks today. All those except one, all those are bigger tanks, so little bit tired right now. We'll do the rest of the tanks. Maybe tomorrow or day after we'll do a. Now the lights are also off here. You can see. No, lights are off. Timer has gone out. So probably tomorrow or day after we'll do this the streaming videos of this one. Okay, so that's all for today. Thanks for being with us. Bye bye. Good night.